we had, celebrations during June for the Zed Festival where thousands of people around the world was coming to Edenton. And so they saw flocks of people by the thousands. At one time it was calculated it was over 30,000 people in this little town. And so that frightened that good old Southern, good boy.
98 is when we had our second annual Halloween party in our social club, Reminiscences, because it had been built in it had finished built in fall of 1997. So 1998, we had our second Halloween party, and then sometime shortly after that, the building had gotten cited for zoning violations. The problem with that is the building had already been up and running for over a year when they originally came back and said, well, we didn't have a certificate of occupancy, which is true by law, by code. You're supposed to have a certificate of occupancy, but by code, the next step would be for the owners to, contract a proper contractor, which they did, which was me, as a Nuwaubian general contractor, was the name of my company at the time, to go back and file the necessary paperwork for the certificate of occupancy, which we did. They used that particular building to go and do an inspection of the land, and they looked at other building projects, and there may have been one or two building code violations, and they utilized that as a reason to shut down all the buildings on the land. That was an injunction that was filed, and the first injunction filed in 1999. The actual case was 99 CV 1-1. Where it was an injunction placed against all of the buildings on the land, where they literally had all the buildings shut down on the land.
The judges work together, the lawyers are working together, the building inspectors working together, everybody's all teamed up in a little KKK clique down here.
The sheriff, Howard Richard Seals, come out and do the building inspections. And we're like, he's not an inspector. Why is he doing the building inspections? Okay. Then he would send the building inspector to come out with him. You don't know anything about building inspections. Why are you even here? I've never seen that before in my life, where a law enforcement official would take the time to stop and do building inspections. No, that was just their excuse and their reason to be able to come up on the land and for him to be able to look around and search the whole property.
Well, legally, no sheriff has done that. Legally, that's not his job. But the fact that they wanted to go under the harassment thing, he's a sheriff, he's on the land, he's doing building inspector. You know what I mean? And that's not his job. That comes under the planning and zoning with your building inspector. They come and they inspect. All your cities have that. They have what they call, your planning and zoning, building inspector, or they have marshals that work for the planning and zoning.
Oh, there was no doubt the sheriff was only there to seek information. His whole purpose and goal of coming was to see what he could get into, and see what he could use against us. Like I said, he was only coming to find something he found illegal, in any manner, any form of fashion whatsoever. That's all. That was his whole purpose. He didn't know the first thing about a building is on the violation. He's a sheriff. What does he know about building codes?
What Nuwaubians came to realize, Putnam County officials had made plans to expand their airport and upgrade State Highway 16, anticipating this to be the route of incoming tourists. The same highway that connects to Highway 142 runs directly in front of the Nuwaubian property on 404 Shadydale Road, which means tourists, before reaching the city of Edenton, would have to first pass Tamaray, Egypt of the West.
It was really all about the county officials working together with other members of government.
The judges work together, the lawyers are working together, the building inspectors working together, everybody's all teamed up in a little KKK clique down here.
In order to get us off that land, because it was sat right on Highway 142, which is a main thoroughfare going towards Reynolds Plantation. And Reynolds Plantation was owned by Reynolds, who was a filthy rich man, who had ties to the government, and they just didn't want us as their little glitch in the system.
That's when our problems start. Then they start holding us back. Well, we would go down there, okay, we want to get a permit for this, well, you can't get a permit unless you do this. So we would go back and we would do that. We come back, then they changed their mind about it. And it was like a whole harassment thing as far as like for us building. It was always, we do whatever they say. When we come back, they change the rules. And that's the way they did it.
The judges